My dearest children, I want you to stop scrolling for a moment. Just for a moment, look me in the eyes. What I'm about to tell you is a truth that has been waiting for you, a truth that I've been entrusted to share after more than 20 years of walking this path with God. You're feeling restless, aren't you? A gnawing sense that you were meant for more than the cycle of getting a job, paying bills, and living for the weekend. I know, because I've seen that same look in the eyes of countless others before you. This isn't an accident. This is a divine appointment. The world has told you that something is wrong with you, but I'm here to tell you something different. There's nothing broken about you. You're just a chosen one, trying to live in a world that wasn't designed for you. I've spent decades watching people try to fit a square peg into a round hole. They've been trying to force themselves into a system that was never built for them. This isn't a problem with their work ethic. It's a spiritual mismatch. The world has a script for you. Go to school, get a degree, find a job, climb the ladder, and retire. But you've always felt a deep, profound dissonance with that rhythm. You're the one who asks questions about meaning while others are motivated by promotions and status. You're the one who is haunted by a calling you can't name while others are content to fit into roles. That's not a flaw. That's a sign from heaven that you're operating on a different frequency. You see, my children, chosen ones, were never meant to be mere workers. You were sent here for a higher purpose, to be awakeners, to be carriers of divine assignments, and to remind humanity that this world is not the end of the story. This is why no matter how hard you've tried to follow the normal path, something always seems to break down. The jobs don't hold, the promotions don't bring peace, and the effort feels like a soul-sucking drain. The world might call you lazy or inconsistent, but I call it divine resistance. Your spirit is resisting a system that was never made with you in mind. This resistance isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of your divine design. Your soul is telling you that your energy is sacred and your time is an offering. You were never made to build someone else's dream at the cost of your own calling. This is a sacred truth you must internalize. What looks like inconsistency or ungratefulness on the outside is often your spirit protecting you from spiritual misalignment. You can't thrive in a place that mutes your gifts. You're not being set apart because you're cursed, but because God is rerouting you. This path requires a different kind of measurement. The world wants you to measure your worth by how busy you are, how productive you appear, and how much money you bring in. But heaven's measurement is different. It's about obedience, not activity. It's about alignment, not achievement. You could be doing what looks like less in the eyes of the world, but in the spirit, you're accomplishing more because you're operating from purpose, not pressure. That feeling of being stalled or stuck, it's not a setback, it's a sacred pause. It's God emptying you of old programming so you can make room for His divine instruction. I know this season might feel confusing. The world looks at your stillness and sees failure, but God sees preparation. He's training you to operate on a different frequency, to hear His voice above all the noise. You were not born to conform to norms, you were born to disrupt them. Your life is meant to light a fire in others, not just maintain your own flame. That's why you've never been satisfied with a job title. Satisfaction was never the goal. Transformation was. So, my children, stop trying to force yourself into a system that was never meant for you. You are not a follower, you are a leader. You were chosen to live by a different blueprint, heaven's blueprint. This is a blueprint where your purpose creates your provision, your obedience attracts overflow, and your gift opens doors that no application ever could. This is not just a motivational talk. This is a spiritual re-entry into the truth you've always known. The time for hiding is over. The time for playing small is done. You are being called into spiritual entrepreneurship, prophetic leadership, and divine creativity. This is your divine re-entry into the truth you've always known. This is your call to rise. My children, as we continue this sacred conversation, I want you to grasp a truth that will change everything you believe about work and life. The world has convinced you that your worth is tied to your productivity, your job title, and your paycheck. But I am here to dismantle that lie and build something truer in its place. I have seen countless souls trying to climb a ladder that leads to nowhere, and it's time for you to step off that path. You see, you were never created to chase jobs. You were made to walk in divine purpose. From the moment you were born, the world began training you to serve its machine. It told you to go to school, get a degree, apply for work, compete, climb, and retire. But you've always felt something was off about that rhythm. While others were motivated by promotions or status, you were asking deeper questions about meaning. This isn't a sign of laziness, it's a sign of a divine plan. What the world calls dysfunction, heaven calls divine dissonance. This is the spirit inside you, rejecting what the world expects. Chosen ones, you don't thrive in jobs that mute your gifts. You may have worked before, or you may still be working, but deep down, you know that's not your final destination. That sense of more isn't greed or a fantasy, it's heaven reminding you of your assignment. It's God showing you that your existence isn't defined by a job title, but by the light you carry and release into the world. Jobs were created to organize labor, but your spirit was sent here to build, awaken, and shift atmospheres. The very structure of a traditional job can feel like a cage for a chosen one. Sitting at a desk, being micromanaged, and working toward goals that have nothing to do with eternity drains you. This isn't because you're entitled, but because your soul knows that your energy is sacred and your time is an offering. I know you've probably been judged for it. They might have said you don't try hard enough or that you always quit too soon, but they don't understand that what looks like inconsistency on the outside is often spiritual resistance on the inside. You can't stay where your soul is suffocating, and you can't pretend to care about systems designed to keep chosen ones distracted from their real work. Your real work begins where your obedience begins. The world won't tell you this, because obedience doesn't always look productive at first. It can look like silence, rest, writing something no one sees yet, or starting a project that doesn't bring in instant money. But what the world calls risky, heaven calls alignment. That's the path you've been called to walk. You were not created to hustle for survival. You were anointed to transform how others survive. You were not born to fill positions, but to create space for others to find their truth. You were created to lead, to heal, to reveal, and to build something that carries God's presence into places the church won't go. When you chase jobs, you shrink your purpose to fit someone else's agenda. But when you chase obedience, you expand your life to carry the full weight of your assignment. This is when things begin to align, when provision follows, and when doors open that resumes can't unlock. So, let me say this with all the clarity and authority God has given me. You are not lazy, you are not confused, you are not ungrateful. You are a chosen one, and chosen ones don't look for work the way the world does. You were meant to walk into assignments that were waiting for your yes. You were meant to rise into callings that don't make sense on paper, to follow God's voice over human approval, and to live in a way that lights fires in others without even trying. Your satisfaction was never the goal. Transformation was. You were born to disrupt, to rebuild, and to call others out of their slumber. So stop trying to fit in where you were never meant to stay. You were born to lead from a place no man can validate, because heaven has already approved you. Now, it's time to walk like it. My children, what I'm about to share is a deeply sacred paradox that the world will never understand. You have likely been told countless times that you're wasting your potential, that you're not doing enough, or that you're just lazy. You've heard it from parents, teachers, and even well-meaning friends who love you but can't comprehend your path. But what the world calls laziness is often something far more sacred and powerful. It's divine resistance. You weren't created to respond to life in the same way others do. That heaviness you feel when you try to do what everyone else does isn't a weakness, it's heaven resisting the world's expectations on your behalf. It's God saying, not here, not this, not for you. While others jump from job to job with ease, something in you tenses up. Your body gets tired, your soul withdraws, and your energy shuts down. This isn't because you lack discipline, it's because you were never meant to build someone else's dream at the cost of your own calling. The world wants you to measure your worth by how busy you are, how productive you look, and how much money you bring in. But heaven's measurement is different. It's about obedience, not activity. It's about alignment, not achievement. In the eyes of the world, you might be doing less, but in the spirit, you're accomplishing more because you are operating from a place of purpose, not pressure. Most people won't understand this. They can't see your spiritual assignment, so they judge your human actions. Laziness is just a word they use when they can't comprehend your divine blueprint. But you are not lazy. You are being retrained. You are in a sacred process, being emptied of old programming to make room for divine instruction. Sometimes, this process looks like stillness, silence, and stepping away from the noise so you can hear God more clearly. In a world addicted to the hustle, stillness can look like failure. But let me tell you something vital. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You are chosen by God. The fact that you can't function like the masses is not a flaw, it's your confirmation. You are not like them because you are not meant to live like them. Your mind is wired to catch divine downloads. Your heart is built to carry sacred burdens. Your life is designed to disrupt norms, not conform to them. So, when you feel yourself resisting the grind, pause and ask yourself, is this disobedience or is it divine resistance? More often than not, it's your spirit trying to protect you from misalignment. The wrong yes can delay the right calling. The wrong opportunity can contaminate your assignment. The wrong job can dim the very light God is trying to grow in you. Chosen ones don't thrive under man-made systems. You move best when you follow divine flow. This flow isn't always fast or impressive, but it's always right. You may not have a title or the same income as others right now, but you have something they can't fake: heaven's hand on your life. That alone will take you further than any resume or reference ever could. This season might feel confusing, and some days you may wake up and wonder what you're doing with your life. But I promise you, if you are surrendering to God's direction, even in the quiet, you are doing holy work. You are being set apart and prepared. The delay is not denial. The resistance is not rejection. It is redirection. You were not meant to move just for the sake of motion. You're meant to move when the Spirit moves you. That's how chosen ones rise. Not by chasing success, but by obeying the unseen rhythm of the divine. So the next time someone questions your pace or makes you feel like you're falling behind, remember this: you are not lazy. You are being led. Let them talk. While they chase what the world offers, you're being positioned for what heaven has prepared. Stay in divine resistance. Your assignment is too holy to be rushed. My children, God did not send you here empty-handed. Before you took your first breath, a divine gift was placed inside of you. This isn't just a random talent or a hobby. It's a sacred tool crafted by heaven itself. And this gift is not just something you have, it is your primary assignment. For too long, you've been searching for your purpose in positions, people, and places. But God's message to you is clear. Stop looking outward and start looking inward. Your gift is not an extra thing, it's the main thing. Many chosen ones live in confusion because they've been taught to downplay what comes naturally to them. You've likely brushed off your abilities because they felt too easy or too obvious. You've been conditioned to believe that real work must be hard and unpleasant. But the divine doesn't operate through struggle. It flows through grace. That ease you feel when you speak, create, guide, write, or lead, that's not a coincidence. That's confirmation from God that this is what He gave you to give to the world. The world told you to hide it, to be realistic, and that your gift wasn't enough to sustain you. But God's message overrides all of that. What you carry inside you is not for entertainment or ego, it is for impact. Your gift was meant to wake people up, heal broken places, bring clarity where there's confusion, and shine light into hopelessness. The enemy knew this, which is why he attacked your confidence and sowed seeds of self-doubt. But the season of shrinking is over. You are not being called to chase jobs. You are being called to activate your divine gift. Heaven isn't hiring employees. It's sending out messengers, healers, prophets, and builders of spiritual infrastructure. You may not have a business card or a degree to validate it, but if God gave you a gift, that's all the proof you need. Your gift is your calling card. Your life's work flows from it, your provision will be attached to it, and your impact will be birthed through it. Here is a truth most won't tell you. If you don't honor your gift, it becomes a burden. That anxiety, restlessness, and frustration you felt isn't depression, it's a misused purpose. The gift is too powerful to stay buried. It aches to be used for kingdom movement, not just for applause or ego. And the longer you avoid it, the louder the resistance becomes. You don't need to figure out every step. You need to start with what's already in your hand. That vision, that voice, that burning idea, that's the gift trying to get out. It's not a random urge, it's divine prompting. Listen closely, my children. Your gift is not too small. It's not too late. You haven't missed it. There's no expiration date on a divine assignment, regardless of your age, losses, or mistakes. God's message is still the same. Use what I gave you. That's where your power, provision, and peace are found. Your job isn't to find a job, your job is to find flow, to listen, and to trust the divine voice guiding you back to yourself. When you honor the gift, the assignment will reveal itself. Let this be the moment everything shifts, the moment you stop running from your calling and realize that your peace has always been connected to your purpose. You were chosen by God not to copy others or chase titles, but to reveal heaven through the very thing He placed inside your soul. Your gift is the assignment. Now, walk in it. My children, I want to talk to you about a fundamental shift that is happening, one that is reshaping the very fabric of how you live and thrive. The old economy, the one you've been taught to rely on the grind, the hustle, the desperation of a job search, is collapsing for you. Those doors aren't opening because they were never meant to. God is launching His chosen ones into a stipulist, new economy, a spiritual economy based on purpose, presence, and power. This isn't about money as the world defines it. This is about divine flow, where provision follows your obedience and resources are attracted by alignment, not effort. For too long, you've been told that if you don't work for someone else, you won't survive. But now, you're being shown a higher truth. Your calling isn't tied to a paycheck, it's tied to impact. And where there's impact, there's provision. Where there's alignment, there's access. This new economy is being built by chosen ones, by people who no longer fit inside the boxes the world has created. This is an economy that doesn't ask you to compromise your soul or pretend to be something you're not. It invites you to bring your full self, your full gift, your full truth, and it pays in peace, power, and a prosperity that doesn't require your exhaustion. You're not being lazy by leaving the old system. You're being summoned into a higher one. Look around you. Spirit-led entrepreneurs are rising, prophetic voices are finding platforms, and healing hands are opening practices. Writers are being called to publish words that set captives free, and artists are awakening souls. People like you are realizing they were never meant to beg for jobs. They were meant to build spaces where heaven can be seen and felt through their gifts. That discomfort you've been feeling with your old work life isn't a mistake. It's a signal. It's God telling you that what used to work is no longer acceptable. Your next elevation is connected to what you've been carrying in silence, and it's time to stop hiding it. This new economy needs you to be fully visible and fully activated. This isn't about quitting your job overnight. This is about listening, aligning, and beginning to offer your gift to the world with intention. It might start small, a few people, a few conversations, a few pieces of content, but what is small in your hands can become supernatural in God's. You just need to say yes. That yes is the currency that moves things in the spirit. Once you say yes to the assignment, heaven begins to fund what you're building. You won't need to compete or hustle like you used to. In this economy, presence is power, obedience is strategy, and trust is the investment. You were not here to fight for scraps. You were here to distribute spiritual wealth, clarity, peace, healing, and awakening. God is showing you how to do this in a way that sustains you while transforming others. You are not imagining the shift. You are part of it. The rise of the chosen is not just a phrase, it's a movement. A new spiritual economy is being built, and you are one of its architects. The world may not understand it, but heaven has already approved it. It's time to build. My children, I've walked this earth for decades, and what I've learned is that the most powerful step on your divine journey isn't about learning something new. It's about unlearning what you were never supposed to believe in the first place. The path to your divine assignment doesn't begin with a course, a degree, or a job. It begins with releasing the lies you were taught by a world that was never designed for your kind. Before heaven can build through you, it must first tear down everything false that has been built within you. You've been conditioned since childhood to think in terms of control, competition, and survival. You were taught that your worth comes from how hard you grind, that your identity is tied to a job title, and that stability is more valuable than vision. But none of these ideas came from God. They came from a system that needs you to be useful but not powerful, efficient but not awakened, and busy but not aligned. That tension you feel, that restlessness that won't go away, is the spiritual friction between the world's script and heaven's blueprint. One tells you to get in line, the other tells you to rise and lead. One says, play it safe. The other says, walk by faith. You cannot carry both. To receive the fullness of heaven's instruction, you must let go of the world's voice. Unlearning is a painful process. It feels like confusion at first, because everything that was once familiar begins to collapse. But this collapse is holy and necessary, because God will not pour fresh purpose into a mind still married to old patterns. He isn't just changing your circumstances, He's transforming how you see, think, hear, and decide. You were taught to ask, will this make money? But God is teaching you to ask, is this in alignment? You've been taught to follow what's popular, but God is teaching you to follow what's prophetic. Each step of obedience will feel strange at first because it doesn't resemble anything you were raised to believe. There will be days when you feel like you're losing your mind, questioning everything. That's normal. You're being rewired and recalibrated, stripped of the world's logic so you can operate by spiritual intelligence. This spiritual intelligence will have you making moves that make no sense to others, but perfect sense to heaven. You will walk away from offers that look good, but don't feel right, and start to trust your peace more than your paycheck. The blueprint won't reveal itself all at once. God gives you instructions, nudges, and confirmations, step by step. It's not that the plan wasn't there, it's that your old programming was blocking your vision. Now, as you unlearn the world's noise, you can finally hear God's whisper. You'll start to notice synchronicities and divine timing. These aren't coincidences, they are the unfolding of heaven's strategy. When you unlearn fear and striving, you begin to live from trust and flow. That is when you become unstoppable. The world will still try to pull you back, calling you irresponsible or unrealistic. But you must remember that you were chosen to break cycles, not continue them. This means walking paths others are too afraid to even imagine. So, if things feel like they are falling apart, don't panic. You are not being destroyed. You are being delivered from programming that never belonged to you. You are being prepared to hold the new, the higher, the holy. You are not going backward. You are being reset. You must unlearn what the world gave you to finally receive the blueprint God designed specifically for you. Once you do, you won't just survive. You will step into a reality where you attract everything you need because you are exactly where God called you to be.